Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our regularly scheduled City Council meeting for October 12th, 2020. I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order, and we'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, Council. I'd like to go ahead and entertain a motion for the approval of tonight's agenda.
So moved, Huntington.
I believe it was Councilmember Favelis, Councilmember Huntington. Is that a second?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, if our city administrator would be kind enough to do the roll call for the approval of tonight's agenda, please. Administrator Krugel?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Favelis.
Aye.
Councilmember Huntington.
Aye.
Councilmember Kirby.
Aye.
Councilmember Krogman.
Aye.
Councilmember Schleter.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
And Mayor Hay.
Aye. Thank you. Consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine and have been made available to the City Council at least 2 days in advance of the meeting. The items will be enacted in one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the agenda and considered in normal sequence. We have 2 items on the docket tonight for our consent agenda. Our City Council meeting minutes for September 28th, 2020, and our disbursement approvals through October 12th, 2020. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval of tonight's consent agenda.
So moved, Sullivan.
I believe that was Councilmember Schleter. Councilmember Sullivan, you seconding?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion? Hearing none, Administrator Krugel, if you'd be kind enough to do roll call, please.
Yes,
For the vote
sir.
of tonight's consent agenda.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Favelis.
Aye.
Councilmember Huntington.
Aye.
Councilmember Kirby.
Aye.
Councilmember Krogman.
Aye.
Councilmember Schleter.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
And Mayor Hay.
Aye. Okay, we now move on to our public comment. Public comment provides an opportunity for the public to address the council on items that are not on the agenda. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes per person. Persons wishing to make a comment must sign up in advance of the meeting on the sheet provided and identify themselves by providing a name and address. I believe Administrator Krugel has told me that we have nobody that has signed up in advance. Is there anybody within our citizenry that would like to address City Council? And Administrator Krugel, be kind enough to let me know if you have any hands that raised, please.
Yes, sir. I do not have any of the hands raised at the moment.
We'll give a few minutes, maybe.
I think I'm looking at we have 5 individuals there. I think I know most of them, and yeah, I'm not seeing anything. I think it's fair to close the public comment.
Okay, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to close public comment.
Favelis, so moved.
Thank you.
Sullivan, second.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second to close public comment. Administrator Krugel, if you'd be kind enough, do roll call to close public comment, please.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Favelis.
Aye.
Councilmember Huntington.
Aye.
Councilmember Kirby.
Aye.
Councilmember Krogman.
Aye.
Councilmember Schleter.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
And Mayor Hay.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. We now move on to 2 public hearings that we have on the docket tonight. The first public hearing will be for our delinquent accounts. Administrator Krugel, if you'd like to kick it off, sir, please.
Yes, sir. Mayor Hague, members of the City Council, before you tonight is a public hearing that was noticed and sent out to individuals that have delinquent utility accounts. This is something we do every year. We invite them in if there is any special circumstances that they can address the City Council to see if there's any leniency or if we want to do any sort of thing. Generally speaking, we try to work with individuals before they get to this level, and if they have any sort of special payment plan or budget billing worked out, those individuals aren't included on this list, as we do have some arrangements that have been made prior to this. So everybody that's on this list has either attempted to do budget billing or a payment plan and it hasn't worked out. So I got Finance Director Zach Dowd on here as well to kind of go over some of the details. We have some updated numbers as far as where we're at to date and things of that nature. So with that, I'll hand it over to Finance Director Dowd to kind of give a recap on this. And then what we're looking for is to open up the public hearing and then see if there's anybody who would like to make any comments to City Council, and then we would close it. And then on November 9th, we would look at potentially certifying it. So with that, I'll hand it off to Director Dowd.
Good evening, Director Dowd.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. Thank you, City Administrator Krugel, for introducing me. Just overall, this is a continually yearly annual process that we do is to certify delinquent utility bills. This is a balance that is as of July 31st of this year, 2020. So we will do this every year. Again, July 31st, 2020 is the year or the date that we use the cutoff. July 31st is typically the cutoff every year. This year, 336 letters were sent out at the beginning of September for any account that was over 30 days old or in arrears. Total amount of those letters were $375,708. They were both sent to the resident that was living there and or the landlord if that was a renter-landlord situation. So they were sent to both parties. Current total when we did the memo last Thursday was $312,000. Today, I ran the report before I left City Hall and it was $252,523. So basically the process is to open the public hearing today. Again, letters and notice were sent out just over a month ago to both landlords and owners themselves, along with renters. And then we allow for any delinquent accounts to make a case. And then we also will close the public hearing. So I will stand for any questions you may have.
Does anybody have any questions for Director Dowd before we go ahead and vote to open our public hearing? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing to listen to anybody that wants to address council regarding the delinquent accounts.
So moved, Sullivan.
Thank you, sir.
Fabulous second.
Okay. Can I go ahead and get our administrator to go ahead and do the roll call to open the public hearing, please, for our delinquent bill certification?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Favalis,
Aye.
Councilmember Huntington,
Aye.
Councilmember Kirby,
Aye.
Councilmember Krogman,
Aye.
Councilmember Schleter,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
and Mayor Hague.
Aye. Public hearing is now open. Administrator Krugel, do we have anybody within that's listening to this broadcast that would wish to address City Council regarding the delinquent account situation?
Mayor Hague, I'm not seeing anybody with their hand raised. Also to note, individuals, obviously we've recouped what, $125,000 almost, $123,000. So we get a pretty good response rate. Generally, we allow them to pay this off prior to the meeting where this would actually be certified. I know that COVID-19, there was some questions about that and how that has affected some of these delinquent bills, and I kind of pulled the admin assistants up front today to kind of get a general idea about if people were having difficulties with their bills And the ones that were delinquent that have come in haven't indicated anything of that nature, losing a job due to COVID or something like that. Undoubtedly, there are some out there, so we have to be conscious of that. And we'd hope if there would be a consideration that somebody would come forward and bring that up, because there are some programs that are offered by the county and the state to potentially help out with this. You have to also keep in mind that we don't have the ability to, right now we're not assessing late fees or anything like that. We're not disconnecting anything because of delinquent accounts because of COVID. That's generally what is being recommended from like the League of Minnesota Cities. So we're kind of in this holding pattern right now. This is really our one and only tool that we can use to try to recoup some of these costs that we had. And we've been talking about revenues and things of that nature at personnel and budget as we develop some things for the full council to review related to enterprise fund budgets. And there's definitely a reduction in revenues that we're seeing compared to 2019 into 2020. So it plays an important part when it all comes to rates. And if these would not get certified, what that would mean is that we would just roll that into the fund balance of those accounts, the electric, water, wastewater, stormwater, and really have to adjust our rates upward to accommodate these. So that's just kind of general speak. I'm still not seeing anybody else raise their hand to make any comments, and I did not receive any prior to the meeting as well. So any other questions from City Council?
Administrator Krugel, I have a question for you. With our questions and concerns that City Council provided prior to this meeting, a question was asked regarding repeat offenders from previous years. And I believe the reply was that there are numerous repeat offenders. What is staff's policy in regards to people that go year to year and yet have delinquent utility bills? Now, granted, I understand that we're under this COVID situation, but let's just assume for a moment that we didn't have COVID. What is staff's policy on how the city handles potential disconnects for these repeat offenders that seem to be on the radar year after year?
Yeah, Mayor Haig, members of council, I can address that. So there isn't an internal staff policy for this. We follow city code. So in our city code, the process is the certification process that we're going through right now. Prior to 2015, we used to do disconnects. The city code was changed to go through the process using the certification process. We were planning on having a conversation this year about that section of code and potentially going back to doing disconnects. But because of COVID-19 and the ability not to disconnect, at the moment we've postponed that until a future discussion can happen. So right now we're following city code. This is part of the city code process for recouping those costs on delinquent accounts.
Thank you. Anybody else have a question for our administrator or for a finance director? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing that deals with tonight's delinquent bill certification process.
Fabulous, so moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Fabulous.
Krogman,
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Krogman. Administrator Krugel, if you'd be kind enough to roll call to close the public hearing for delinquent bill certification.
Yes, sir. Council member Favolis,
Aye.
Council member Huntington,
aye.
Council member Kirby,
Aye.
Council member Krogman,
Aye.
Council member Schleter,
Aye.
Council member Sullivan,
Aye.
and Mayor Haig.
Aye. Thank you, Administrator Krugel. We now have a public hearing, 6 Bravo, which will be dealing with our easement vacation. Administrator Krugel.
Yes, sir. Mayor Haig, members of City Council. This item is directly related to one of the resolutions that was included in the next regular agenda item. Part of that is the vacation of some easements that are located along 5th Street and basically on the entire property where this Meadows 2 development potentially is occurring. So tonight, this was noticed in the paper to invite individuals in to make comments on this easement vacation. One thing to note is that the final plat, which is before you tonight as well, in that agenda item 7A, reestablishes the easements that we need and gives them their proper locations on that final plat. So I'll send this over to the Community Development Director, Samantha DiMaggio, to kind of present this and answer any questions prior to opening the public comment. Similar situation as the previous public hearing. Open it up to comments from the individuals if anybody does want to participate, and then close it down. There is no action following it except when we get into the next agenda item 7A. So I'll turn it over to Community Development Director Samantha DiMaggio.
Good evening, Director DiMaggio. How are you this evening?
Good evening, sir. Thank you, Jasper, for that introduction. On the screen right now, you will actually see the various easements that are located on the Sueur Meadows property. Some of those will remain in place as they are necessary for the first phase. There are some that are going to go forward in the second phase that are varied from what you see. These were done, probably 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and the developer has changed, the layout of the development has changed. So the developer is vacating some of these easements, and as Jasper said, we'll be reestablishing them in the next, in 7A, which is the next agenda item. But in the paper, we did call for a public hearing. If anyone has any concerns about vacating this, we'd like to answer those. Jasper, if you could please go to the next slide for me. On this slide, you can see the easements that are going to be vacated and replaced. They are the ones that have the diagonal lines through them. At one point, it was thought that utilities were going to run around these easements. They had an easement over the stormwater pond. That is now changing moving forward based on the new development plan that we have. So as I said, these easements will be vacated and replaced, but we do want to hold a public hearing to take any comment on vacating these easements.
So before we go ahead and open up the public hearing for the easement vacation for the 5th Street project, does anybody from council have any questions for our city administrator or for our community development director? Seeing none, go ahead and entertain a motion then to open up the public hearing for the 5th Street easement vacation.
Sullivan, so moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Sullivan. Who was the second, please?
Krogman.
Thank you, Councilmember Krogman. Administrator Krugel, if you'd be kind enough to go ahead and do the roll call vote to open up the public hearing for the 5th Street easement vacation.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Fabilis,
Aye.
Councilmember Huntington,
Aye.
Councilmember Kirby,
Aye.
Councilmember Krogman,
Aye.
Councilmember Schleter,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
and Mayor Hague.
Aye. So the public hearing is now hereby open for the 5th Street easement vacation. Administrator Krugel, do we have anybody from the public that would like to address City Council?
At this moment, I do not see anybody raising their hand. If there is anybody in attendance to the meeting and you would like to make comment on this this item during this public hearing, please hit the little hand raised button and I can unmute you. Right now, we don't have anybody. I think if we give it 15 seconds, 30 seconds, there are still, I believe, 6 individuals in attendance. We'll give them a little bit before we potentially close the public hearing.
Sounds good to me, Administrator Krugel.
Quick question. You keep referring to this as a 5th Street vacation. Is that
Ye-
correct?
It
Yes.
is correct. So Fifth Street will be extended down through, I'll go back to these. So down through this area, you can kind of see part of this on the top, Fifth Street. There's easements that need to be removed for that purpose, and you'll see that readjusted. So in general, internally, we've been calling it the Fifth Street easements because we've been working on Fifth Street as well related to this project. So it's semantics mostly. So Mayor, I'm not seeing anybody raising their hands right now. So I would say it's fair to close the public hearing if you choose.
I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing for the Fifth Street easement vacation.
That was so moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Favalis.
Krogman second.
Thank you, Councilmember Krogman. Administrator Krugel, if you'd be kind enough to do the roll call vote to go ahead and close the public hearing for the Fifth Street easement vacation.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Favalis,
Aye.
Councilmember Huntington,
Aye.
Councilmember Kirby,
Aye.
Councilmember Krogman,
Aye.
Councilmember Schleter,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
and Mayor Hague.
Aye.
Very good.
Okay, thank you. We now move on to our regular agenda for tonight. We have five items on the docket. The first item on the docket is 7 Alpha, the Sueur Meadows 2 Development Agreement. Administrator Krugel.
Thank you, Mayor Hague, members of City Council. Before you is a series of resolutions that we're going to ask City Council to evaluate and potentially approve, all related to the Sueur Meadows development that we're looking at, that we just held a public hearing to vacate easements on. One of the resolutions is in itself to vacate those easements. I'll leave it over to Community Development Director DiMaggio to give the report on this, and at the end, if there's any questions, I can help out to try to answer.
Thank you. Welcome back, Director DiMaggio.
Thank you, sir. There are a lot of moving pieces to this, so please don't hesitate to ask any questions that you have. Common Bond Communities has acquired Sueur Meadows. They have now made application for a final plat to go along with the new buildings that they want to do and the rehab that they want to do. In order for them to move forward to get to the building permit process, they need to do 4 different steps. The first step is approving the final plat. If you are approving to do that tonight, we would do that with resolution 2020-028. The second is approve the associated easement vacations. We would do that with 2020-030. Approve the site plan and building plan. We would do that with resolution 2020-031. And finally, approve the development agreement. Jasper, could you please go forward one more slide?
Yeah, it seems to be a little lag in this, so give it a second.
Okay. Perfect. So as you can see from the existing site plan, there are 5 8-unit buildings and a stormwater pond. The remainder of the site was set aside for a future development. The previous owners of this parcel never did move forward with that development. As I said, it's been sold, and the new owners have come together with a different site plan. If you could please go forward. I apologize for the delay. These are quite large slides, so I'm not sure if that's what's causing some of our issues. Here we go. So the preliminary plat, a public hearing was held by the Planning Commission on March 14th, 2019. The City Council did approve the preliminary plat, but they did have some, at the time on May 13th, 2019, there were some conditions made as part of the preliminary plat. So these minor modifications were made to incorporate any of the things that we wanted to see done. And you can now see that. I know some of them were staff changes, some questions we had about egress and ingress and egress of the site and different layouts, and they've been very, very good to work with, but we did ask them to make some minor modifications. If you could go forward one more slide, please. So the primary purpose of the final plat review is to make sure that it's consistent with what they had told us that they were preliminarily going to do. The proposed final plat that we see now has one lot, so they're going to create as part of the second phase of the Sueur Meadows, it'll be one lot with two outlots. Those two outlots are for stormwater management ponds. You can see outlot A is going to be over the existing pond, and then outlot B, I believe, will be for future stormwater should it be necessary. You can go forward one more page, please. So the existing development, as we talked about, did have some easements on there that we wanted to vacate. As I said, one of them is over the stormwater pond. The other is where I believe they thought they were going to potentially run existing utilities. The plans that we saw before was looking for more of like a townhome development, where they're not going to do that anymore. Obviously, this new developer has different plans. These easements will be vacated with a resolution tonight. And then on the new plat where they need new easements, those will be put in on a new plat. So these will be vacated, hopefully if you approve it via resolution. As we just held a public hearing, obviously the public did not have any comment on it. Jasper, if you could please go forward one more slide. So the easements that we are going to need to move this project forward, we are going to need easements over the stormwater ponds. The hospital helipad actually encroaches on the property, so an easement was required for that. With the helipad, there's also a clear zone easement that has to do with vertical height as far as the helipads that are coming in. So it limits the height of structures that can be in that area. There's also a situation with the city's volleyball court that also encroaches on the property. So an easement was prepared for that. There's an easement for 5th Street, which will help the city to make the 5th Street connection going into the development. And as I said, there were several easements that were no longer needed, so we will be replacing those hopefully through a vacation. We'll authorize that via resolution. If you go to the next slide, please. On the slide, it's a little bit hard to see, but you can see that there are 2 new 8-unit buildings that will be created. There will also be 2 structures on the north side. One of those buildings closest to the hospital will be an 11 units, and then the next one will be 12 units. I think the one closest to the park is a 12-unit building. So the city council had approved this site plan in 2019. So as I said, similar, all this stuff is similar to what we've seen before, just a good refresher on what the developer is proposing. You go forward one more slide, please. Staff has reviewed the final plans and we have found it consistent with the preliminary plan that was approved. There are still some minor modifications that are necessary. Corey's review is actually part of your packet. For anyone at home who might be watching, some of the things that the engineers are making sure of is that any new infrastructure that's put in is put in the proper places, that future water can go in there. I know there were some issues with some manhole covers and different types of things. They wanted to make sure that ease of maintaining those from a city standard were done in the future. So those are some of the comments that we've made to them, but they are just very minor. And a lot of that will be done more with the actual construction documents, but we definitely want to make sure that nothing will move forward until all of the city's requests have been made. If you go forward one more slide, please. Here is a picture of the elevations of the 2 new buildings. There are 2 more 8-plexes that are going to be built to match the existing buildings. These will be the 2 new buildings that will be built on the north side of the property, closest to the hospital and to the park. is a rendering of what those buildings will look like. As I said, one of them is 11 units and the other one is 12 units. If you could go forward one more page, please. Additional topics that are still going to be negotiated. You'll see one of my comments moving forward is that we still have Attorney Mike Corey negotiating a few things for us, and some of these things are outlined here right now. Park dedication is due at the time of final plat. That is $3,900. The plat must be recorded within 90 days. The development agreement does include securities, so we are asking them to give us a letter of credit for $842,400. We're asking for that letter of credit to ensure that the developer actually builds their apartments and puts in the infrastructure that we're asking for up to our standards. So as I said, we want to make sure that they're going to put in water mains and different utilities in the parking lot and actually finish all the exterior things, the stormwater ponds. We want to make sure those are built to our standards. So we're asking them for that letter of credit. I do have a meeting with them later on this week to discuss it. But if anything major were to change, we would come back to you. But as I said, I just wanted to make sure there still might be a few final tweaks. I know their attorneys are looking at it as we speak. Final engineers' comments must be addressed. The plan has been modified to meet the conditions for approval of the preliminary plat. So far they've done everything that we've asked of them. They've been very easy to work with, very great to work with. The landscaping and lighting plans still need to be approved. I'm not sure if Nate has everything he's looking for. I leave that up to Nate and Corey, our experts on landscaping and lighting, but I think that they have everything that they need so far. We also want to make sure that they meet the city's parking requirements. We're just going to double check all of this stuff as part of the building permit review. These are things that we look for, but so far we have everything I believe that we need, but should something minor need to be changed, I'm hoping that that wouldn't be a problem. If we could go on to the next page, please. So there are 4 asks of you again tonight. The first is to consider the resolution approving the final plat. That would be resolution 2020-028. The second is a resolution approving the easement vacations. That is what we held the public hearing for, was to vacate those easements. That would be done with resolution 2020-030. Consider resolution approving the final site and building plan. This confirms that the plans are consistent with the preliminary plat that we had approved, and that it authorizes the applicant to proceed with the building permit stage. We would do that with resolution 2020-031, and then consider approving the development agreement. As I said, if Mr. Corey, if there's any typos, anything that Mike Corey does need to make amendments on, I'm hoping that we can just make those slight amendments and then execute the document. If there is something major, we will for sure bring it back to you. But as I said, their attorney's reviewing it right now, and I'm hopeful that it's just very small details and that we can go ahead and execute the document. Do you have any questions of me?
This is Councilmember Schlueter. Question on this. The Planning Commission looked at this back in March of 2019. As far as I know, we have a new fire chief since then. Have they had a chance to review this?
They have. So from a staff review standpoint, all of our information goes on to them. And we're very lucky because we do have Justin Nielsen as our building official. He's also on the fire department. He met with Fire Chief Wenish to make sure that they were okay with all of the layouts and everything. He kind of brought him up to speed from where we had previously been to where we are now. So I'm very appreciative of both of them, but they have reviewed it and everything is great in that regard. Thank you for checking though.
Member Sullivan. Sam, I just got a quick question. You mentioned something about with the helipad encroachment. Is that going to still be a safe landing space, or is there concerns with that?
So unfortunately, the helipad was actually built on their property. So it's a little bit of a strange situation. There was a mistake that was made. The helipad encroaches on their property. This is actually going to clean it up and make it better so that we won't have any issues moving forward. But this was a mistake that was made. Both the hospital has been very good to work with, as has been Common Bond, and they're working to fix this. But it's actually going to make it, I believe, better. It's going to clean things up.
But they'll still be able to use that?
Yes, sir, they will.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Mayor Hague, members of City Council, this is Administrator Krugel. If there aren't any additional questions, what staff is looking for, and I think to make it the cleanest way is to have a motion and a second discussion about each of the resolutions and the purchase agreement or the development agreement. So basically 4 different motions for each one of these items would be the cleanest way to adopt these. We'll stand for further questions if there are any. Oh, Greg, if you can hear us, I believe you might be muted. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I had taken myself off. I was having some interference. I think there might have been too many mics going at once, so I cut myself off. But yeah, exactly what our administrator said. I think the best way to handle this would be 4 separate motions. I totally concur. So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion for Romeo 2020-028.
Krogman, so move.
Thank you, Councilmember Krogman.
Schleter, second.
Thank you, Councilmember Schluter. Any discussion? Administrator Krugel, if you do the roll call for Resolution Romeo 2020-028.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Favalis,
Aye.
Councilmember Huntington,
Aye.
Councilmember Kirby,
Aye.
Councilmember Krogman,
Aye.
Councilmember Schleter,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
and Mayor Hague.
Aye,
Motion passes.
thank you. We'll now move on to a motion for Resolution Romeo 2020-030.
So moved, Sullivan.
Councilmember Sullivan, thank you. Councilmember Huntington second. Thank you, sir. Any discussion? Again, Administrator Krugel, be kind enough to go ahead and do the roll call vote for Resolution Romeo 2020-030.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Favalis,
Aye.
Councilmember Huntington,
Aye.
Councilmember Kirby,
Aye.
Councilmember Krogman,
Aye.
Councilmember Schleter,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
and Mayor Hague.
Aye,
Motion passes.
thank you. Now we move on to a motion for Resolution Romeo 2020-031.
Favalis, so moved.
Huntington, so moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Favalis.
Huntington, second.
Thank you, Councilmember Huntington. Again, is there any discussion? Hearing none, Administrator Krugel, if you'd go ahead and do the vote, the roll call vote for Resolution Romeo 2020-031, please.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Favalis,
Aye.
Councilmember Huntington,
Aye.
Councilmember Kirby,
Aye.
Councilmember Krogman,
Aye.
Councilmember Schleter,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
and Mayor Hague.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And lastly, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the development agreement allowing Attorney Corey to make minor amendments prior to the final execution.
Favalis, so moved.
Thank you,
Sullivan,
Councilmember
second.
Favalis. I'm sorry.
Sullivan, second.
Thank you, Councilmember Sullivan. Any discussion? Hearing none, once again, Administrator Krugel, if you do the roll call vote for the approval of the development agreement allowing Attorney Corey to make the minor amendments prior to the final execution.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Fableys.
Aye.
Councilmember Huntington.
Aye.
Councilmember Kirby.
Aye.
Councilmember Krogman.
Aye.
Councilmember Schleter.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
And Mayor Hague.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. We now move on to our next agenda item, which is 7 Bravo, the CSA 22 Electric Improvements Direct Funding Bond. Administrator Krugel.
Mayor Hague, members of City Council, before you tonight is another resolution authorizing the sale of this direct funded bond for the CSA 22 electric project along CSA 22. I've got Finance Director Dowd here to go over the project itself, the cost, and what we're looking to get approved tonight. So I'll hand it off to Director Dowd.
Good evening, Director Dowd.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. Thank you for allowing me to speak at the CSA 22 Electric Improvement Direct Funding Bond agenda item. I'm going to go over the item and what it's for, what the bond is for. If you have any questions, just stop and ask, and we'll go through them as I go through. So the purpose of this is that this project of electric improvements was had to be done, or we had to move electric utilities along CSA 22 between Caucus and County Road 115. So our two options were to remove the poles and move them over so they were far enough away from the road, or move that service farther away from the road, but then also put that service and move it to underground to allow more consistent service and allow for us not to have to deal with poles anymore, which seems to be a much easier issue. It can be more of an issue, especially with wind and rain and snow. So this purpose of the bond is to remove those overhead poles and move the service along CSA 22 between Caucus and County Road 115 to underground. Again, it's brought up and about by CSA 22's reconstruction. And along with that, we also had one outstanding bond that had 2 remaining payments on it for the electric fund. It had different covenants and different kind of things that were needed for that bond. And instead of having to deal with 2 different types of covenants for that, we decided to just, again, remove the covenants on the old one and pay it off early with a lower interest rate on this bond. And we end up saving around $20,000 to $25,000 just by doing this, which is an easy savings for the city overall. So just to save those 2 payments saved us a few bucks. Figured it was worth it. Cost again of the relocation project, so moving the poles from overhead to underground, was $1.2 million. Refinancing of the old bond is $219,462.50, and then the fees and council fee or bond council fees, other fiscal agent fees, so on and so forth, are $38,390. Those were spelled out in Shannon Sweeney's memo to the council that you guys received in the agenda packet. Total costs were $1.457. To make it an even round number, the city fronted $2,800.50 just to make it an even number for a total bond amount of $1.455 million. And then we are going to use Truist Bank. That was suggested to us by our fiscal agent or our advisor, Shannon Sweeney. He's used them before in the past, and they specialize in electric bonding for electric type bonds. They give the lowest rate that he's seen in the country. They are out of South Carolina, I believe, or somewhere on the East Coast. A 1.75% interest rate. Annual payments are about $160,000 per year. That's principal and interest for 10 years. I will stand for any questions that you may have regarding the bond or the project.
Anybody have any questions for Director Dowd or for Administrator Krugel regarding the 2020 Alpha Bond Sale Authorization Resolution? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval of Resolution Romeo 2020-029, an award of bond sale to Truist Bank for the total principal amount of $1,455,000.
Sullivan, so moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Sullivan.
Fableous second.
Thank you, Councilmember Fabulous. Any discussion? Administrator Krugel, be kind enough to roll call vote for the CASA 22 Electric Improvements Direct Funding Bond for the amount of $1,455,000 to Truist Bank.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Favelis,
Aye.
Councilmember Huntington,
Aye.
Councilmember Kirby,
Aye.
Councilmember Krogman,
Aye.
Councilmember Schleter,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
and Mayor Hague.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We now move on. Thank you, Director Dowd. I know it's an awful lot of work with what you're doing, and thank you for taking every measure necessary, especially during these times where our finances have seen a huge hit due to COVID. Thank you for looking for every penny that you can find. That $20,000 to $25,000 savings is greatly appreciated by this council as well as our citizens. Thank you.
Happy to do it. Thank you very much, Mayor and members of the City Council.
Welcome. Next item on our docket is 7 Charlie, the Sueur Fire Department firefighter hires. Administrator Krugel.
Thank you, Mayor Hague, members of City Council. Before you is a summary of what we have going on at the Sueur Fire Department related to our firefighters. We were down, our roster was down 3 a couple months ago, and we decided with the council, with the chief, to post the position and interview candidates. There were 7 candidates. There is a recommendation for 3. Interviews were held. There were 2 sets of interviews, an initial and an invite back, where we actually invited back all 7 candidates for the second round of interviews. So we had very good candidates this year for this. We're recommending the hiring of 3 individuals, Eddie Fahey, Joe Luna, and Josh Thelman, to be appointed to the fire department. So what we're looking for is a recommendation, a motion approving the hiring of these 3 volunteer paid on-call firefighters. So with that, I'll entertain any questions you may have.
Any questions for our administrator?
Huntington, so moved.
Councilmember Huntington made the motion. Okay. Is there a second?
Favelis, second.
Thank you, Councilmember Favelis. Okay, any final discussion? Administrator Krugel, if you would please do a roll call vote for the Sueur Fire Department volunteer paid on-call firefighter hires.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Favelis,
Aye.
Councilmember Huntington,
Aye.
Councilmember Kirby,
Aye.
Councilmember Krogman,
Aye.
Councilmember Schleter,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
and Mayor Hague.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next item on the docket is 7 Delta polling place designation. Administrator Krugel.
Thank you, Mayor Hague, members of City Council. Before you is a resolution, resolution 2020-026. It designates the Sueur City Hall as the official polling location in the city of Sueur for any 2021 elections. So this is just for the 2021 year. So not a minor or major election year, but we have to designate this annually. There will be a discussion potentially to talk about where viable options are to hold elections. You know, City Hall has historically been the location where all elections have been held. We're finding it challenging during a pandemic due to the space confinements, but we will make it work, and we will have a conversation likely in 2021 about the 2022 polling location, potentially incorporating a discussion about changing it to the fire hall. I'm not entirely sure if you know that's the answer, because that would lead to some confusion potentially during the election, but it would be easier to to do something like an election during a pandemic in that larger area. So, but tonight we're just talking about the 2021 election year, and there is a resolution we're recommending approving for that. So with that, I'll entertain any questions you may have.
Any questions at all for our Administrator Krugel regarding the polling place designation being City Hall? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion then to approve Resolution Romeo 2020-026, designating the Sueur City Hall as the official polling location in the city of Sueur for any 2021 elections.
So moved,
So
Sullivan.
moved. Huntington.
Okay, Sullivan, motion, second Huntington.
Yep.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Administrator Krugel, be kind enough to go ahead and do the roll call vote for the polling place designation being City Hall.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Favalis,
Aye.
Councilmember Huntington,
Aye.
Councilmember Kirby,
Aye.
Councilmember Krogman,
Aye.
Councilmember Schleter,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
and Mayor Hague.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Last item on our docket is 7 Echo, which is an approved agreement for airport land acquisition and a resolution to execute MnDOT grant agreement for airport land acquisition. Administrator Krugel.
Yes, sir. Mayor Hague, members of City Council. This has been something that we've talked about on numerous occasions at City Council. We approved the purchase of a property that's adjacent to the Sueur Municipal Airport. That property had a house and a garage and some other features on it. Per the CARES Act money that the FAA or the local MnDOT authority got or received, we were able to purchase this property and demo the house at no cost to the city of Sueur. These CARES Act money, the CARES Act money is obviously funded through taxpayer dollars, but there were no local contributions to this project to acquire the land or demo the house. The picture you can see on the screen right now is where the house used to be. We went out for bids on demo, and the contractor made pretty quick work of the house and is currently grading the site, or will be grading the site and planting to basically prep it for any future use. So what we're looking at tonight is there's a grant agreement that needs to be approved, but there's a resolution that essentially authorizes the execution of the grant agreement. What we're looking for is a motion to approve the agreement and the resolution, which is R 2020-027. It authorizes the execution of the Minnesota Department of Transportation grant agreement for the airport improvement and land acquisition. So looking for a motion for that, but in the meantime, I can entertain any questions. Please let me know.
Anybody have any questions regarding the airport state grant resolution for our administrator? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the MnDOT agreement number 1045032, state project number Alpha 4005-48, grant agreement for airport improvement and land acquisition, and resolution Romeo 2020-027, authorizing execution of the Minnesota Department of Transportation grant agreement for airport improvement and land acquisition. Boy, that's a mouthful.
Councilmember Krogman, so move.
Thank you,
Schleter,
Councilmember
second.
Krogman. Thank you, Councilmember Schleter. Any final discussion? Administrator Krugel, if you go ahead and do the roll call, please, for the airport state grant resolution.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Favalis,
Aye.
Councilmember Huntington,
Aye.
Councilmember Kirby,
Aye.
Councilmember Krogman,
Aye.
Councilmember Schleter,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
and Mayor Hague.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, we're now down to our comments, reports, and items of appreciation. And for a change, I'm going to go ahead and go first. Take the heat off you guys for a change. I have a couple of things to go ahead and report on tonight. The first thing is I want to go ahead and thank everybody from the community and City Hall, or all of our staff and our council members that took the time last week to be there as part of our mall demolition. 55 years in the making, and now the ball is rolling. It's going to be wonderful to see what that looks like again. I can certainly remember what it was like back in the day, and I think some of you guys can as well. So that was a very well-attended event, and I thank you so much to everybody that took the time to be there. And secondly, on October 28th, mark this on your calendar, please. Let your constituents know as well. The Sueur County free food distribution will be happening on the 28th from 4 to 5:30 p.m. at the Sueur County Fairgrounds in the center. I just got the email on this today, and I want to make sure, especially with everything that's going on with so many people that have been furloughed or that have been laid off due to this COVID virus that we have happening throughout the world, that this is an opportunity for people to perhaps get something to help put some nourishment in their bodies. So with that said, I will now turn it on over to Councilmember Sullivan.
Yeah, I've got a few things to talk about tonight. So last week we had our EDA meeting and we talked about it earlier. We did authorize a purchase agreement to go out to purchase some land on Hazel and Dakota Street to hopefully get some housing built. So we're gonna start there. And then we had an Rpac meeting last week. Went over a lot of stuff about the parks and community center. Was a conversation in regards to the community center pool, wanting to open that back up. Maybe direct the conversation that, you know, it's on all of our minds. I mean, I think all of us on council, and this is kind of how we posed it. We all want it open, but we got to do the fiscally responsible thing and make sure that we have the money to do it. So other than that, I don't think I have anything.
Thank you, Councilmember Sullivan. Councilmember Schluter.
Couple things. First off, I'd like to say congratulations and welcome to our new firefighters. And second, over the next 2 nights, we're going to be having forums for the public to listen to. I was just wondering if Jasper could give any information to the public as to how they could listen.
Great question.
Yeah, definitely. So this is a Sueur Chamber of Commerce event. They have these candidate forums every election cycle that we have. This year it's challenging with COVID-19 going on. What the city or what I've offered to do is help them host that electronically. So this is at City Hall. There aren't any public, there will be no public present, but the candidates will be at City Hall. And there will be, basically it'll look like this format through GoToWebinar. There's a link I know that has been shared on Facebook, social media from the chamber for you to register for the event. The event will be recorded. If you want to look at it afterwards, it will be uploaded to Facebook as well, where people can view it and share it. So city is kind of just the I guess the technical side of it, as the chamber has developed the questions, and it's actually a chamber event. So the links can be found on the chamber website, I believe, in the chamber Facebook page to register for the event.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else?
Is there a way we can share that to the city's page as well?
Yeah, I'll look at it. What we'd like to do in those situations is grab it from or just share the chamber's page. So I'll see once if that's available, and we'll do that.
Is that all you had, Councilmember Schluter?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Krogman, please.
Yes, the Planning Commission met last week, and just a quick bit of information for you. They're being proactive, working with Director DiMaggio and looking at certain zoning items. Particularly, you heard about one of these earlier this year about pools. There's also some updating needed for, there's updating needed for those, for fences and for yard signs. And what they're doing is kind of going through the zoning code, being proactive. They don't have any applications in front of them at the current time, but they're looking at ways to make things smoother for our citizens and for our city staff. So kudos to them for the work that they're doing. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Krogman. Councilmember Kirby.
I have nothing to share tonight, Mayor Hague, thank you, other than I'm looking forward to Wednesday night's forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Kirby. Councilmember Huntington.
Yes, Mayor. Only one thing is congratulations to the 3 new fire personnel we have. And that is it.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Huntington. Councilmember Families.
Well, Member Sullivan already took care of Rpac and EDA for me. I want to say thank you to and congratulations to Eddie, Joe, and Josh, and a thank you for the other 4 that went up and tried to step up to be part of the fire department. That's not an easy job, and it's much appreciated. Otherwise, it is so nice to be driving on Elmwood Avenue, and they've done a really nice job. It looks really good. I've had some comments about people that like walking on the path that are looking forward to it being completed. Other than that, that's what I got.
Thank you, Councilmember Families. And before I turn it on over to our city administrator, with the candidates forum going on both tomorrow night and also on Wednesday night, I would first off like to go ahead and congratulate everybody that has taken the opportunity to go ahead and show their civic pride and elect to run for office. I wish you all very well. And I'd like to encourage everybody in the city to constantly be thinking about, if you're not necessarily sure about something like city council or mayor, we have, I believe, 15 different boards, commissions, and committees. And we're always looking for volunteers to go ahead and try to do a lot of the heavy lifting that helps provide the information to our city council, in addition to what we receive from staff. So please be mindful of that. And I know that once this election cycle is over, there's certainly going to be some vacancies starting in 2021 amongst those various boards, commissions, and committees. So please be thinking about that. I know that City Council will be very appreciative of that. And with that said, Administrator Krugel, once again, you're the hammer, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Hague. Just the note, I did share that. I just shared that to our Facebook page here at the city from the chamber. So that has been done. We're continuing to work on the budget right now, and it's proving to be a challenging year, but I think we have a good group of individuals on the Personnel and Budget Committee that are willing to work through some of the challenges that we have. So I appreciate that. We do have a Personnel and Budget Committee meeting on Wednesday at 10 a.m. at City Hall. It seems like we're having them almost weekly, which is good. There's a lot of things to go over. So appreciative of that. The first time City Council will get a kind of a, I don't know, I'll call it a peek at what we're doing with the enterprise funds related to rates and just what those budgets look like. And the CIP will be on November 9th. So we're planning on bringing that forward. So we'll have quite a bit of information. Then we have the next meeting, the November 23rd meeting, to go over items, and then looking to potentially adopt the final levy, final budget on that December 14th date. So we're working there. We're almost to that point, yeah, we're going through quite a few things. We do have the candidate forum coming up. That is a good event that the chamber hosts. Really get to know your city council members and your mayor, your candidates for those 2 positions. So that is great. One thing I will note, it is the fall. There are leaves falling off the trees. If you are using our compost site, we ask that you empty your leaves out of the bags, the plastic bags, otherwise need to be picked up by city staff, and we need to dispose of those. But please utilize that compost site as much as you can. I know we got a bunch of rain last night, so it's a little messy out there, but it looks like the next 10 days or so, it's gonna be pretty dry. So hopefully that dries out We will be out street sweeping the streets. We ask that you don't push your leaves into the street for us to pick up, as that takes up quite a bit of time. That hopper on that street sweeper gets filled up pretty quickly. So, you know, we ask if you do want to dispose of your leaves, you can bring them down to the compost site. That's a great service that we offer here at the city. So we will be posting some no parking signs in various areas throughout town. So keep an eye on that. That'll help us get those streets as clean as possible. You know, it's kind of never ending this time of year. We have a month where the leaves slowly fall off the trees. So we'll do the best we can to get as much of that picked up as we can before, you know, knock on wood, it's not for a while, the snow flies. So that's all I have right now. Looking forward to the meeting on Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Huntington.
Thank you, Councilmember Huntington. Nobody's
Favalis,
willing to give me a second? Councilmember Favalis for second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening. And again, to our candidates, good luck. We're certainly looking forward to hearing what you have to say both Tuesday and Wednesday night. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.